The good people, they're going to in turn say, what can I do for you? How can I help you? It's know, like, and trust. You're going to have awesome relationships, referral sources, clients, mentors, mentees. Reputation is what other people say about you when you're not. So the brand is me putting something forward, me building my brand intentionally. Own a spot in your head. Reputation is more of, oh, he's a great guy. Don't ask yes or no questions. Why did you start a business? Why and how? That's the best tip I can give any new or sometimes even experienced interviewer. People love stories. That's what they want to listen to. That's what they want to watch.
This is the Relentless Pursuit of Winning podcast, where we are here to educate, equip, and inspire people to build extraordinary companies. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get updates every time we drop a new episode. Now, let's get it started. Guys, this is the Relentless Pursuit of Winning podcast. My name is Rick Meekins, and I am your host once again. In the studio, we've got Mark J. Carter, one of my favorite people in the world. How are you, sir?
I am excellent. Very happy to be here. Looking forward to the discussion.
Folks, if you haven't done it already, please make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get updates every time we drop a new episode. I certainly appreciate it. So, Mark, let's give the audience a little bit of your background, who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
The quick story, everything involves interviewing and relationships. The quick story, senior year in college, I read a Tony Robbins book, thought I wanted to be Tony Robbins, and just naturally, I don't even think I knew what mentoring was. And I just said, if I want to be successful someday, I got to be around and learn from successful people. So I would just hunt people down. I went back to waiting tables from corporate America for flexibility and quick rent money. And people would come in the restaurant or I'd find them and I would just interview every walk of life, did that forever, fell into the event space for 20 years. And then within the last few years, got into podcasting and a radio show. And what I would do privately with learning from successful people, I started doing publicly on the podcast and a radio show and YouTube station. I've just always been genuinely curious about other people. And now it's led to, like I said, the podcast and radio, but it was always just, even if I could get 20 minutes with a CEO or entrepreneur, a millionaire next door, a basketball coach was one of my first interviews. I just love being a sponge and learning from people.
Yeah. I love that. You know, it was funny. I think I saw something where Chris Pratt was actually waiting tables when he got his breakthrough in Hollywood. Hey, you know, the restaurant business is a great launching pad, right?
You meet all kinds of people, good, bad, and otherwise.
Yes. We talk about the good people, though.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you talk about is meaningful relationships. What do you mean specifically when you talk about meaningful relationships versus perhaps any other type of relationship?
I look at them as meaningful versus transactional. Meaningful, you're making a difference in someone's life. And sometimes that can be as an entrepreneur or someone involved with sales in any way, shape, or form. It could be your product or service is going to solve a problem for them and they're happy to pay you, but it's meaningful as opposed to everyone I meet is a potential client. I've heard people say that in certain industries, and it's just like, no, everyone you meet is not a potential client. Don't treat them that way. And I've watched people just burn bridges and everything else. And I've watched myself because I don't try and sell. It's like, well, how can I help you? Who can I introduce you to? What can I do for you? The right people, it sounds kind of hokey, but what I found is the people that don't reciprocate, you don't have to hang on to. But the good people, they're going to in turn say, well, what can I do for you? How can I help you? And it takes a little longer because it's relationship based. It's know, like, and trust. And while it takes longer, in 12 months, you're going to have awesome relationships, referral sources, clients, people helping you, mentors, mentees. It might take a little longer, like I said, maybe 12, 18 months to build them. But then you hit a spot where people are like magic and you have overnight success. It's like, no, I spent a year building relationships with people. And that's why they're helping me, is because I didn't ask for something right away. I actually tried to give something right away. But meaningful is whatever they see as being valuable and you're offering a way for them to get there, whether it's directly through you or through a connection that you make for them.
Gotcha. You said it takes a year. Are you talking about quality or quantity, or are you talking about both?
If you start going to the same networking event, now it's easier because you can do it like this from home. Going to the same networking event and more intimate, like 50 people in the room or something, 30 people in the room, and they get to know you. I found it does take 6 to 12 months as far as doing business, where the know, like, and trust is set in. They see you're part of the community. They see that you're not a pushy salesperson. They see that you're connecting with people. I think that's what it takes for know, like, and trust to happen. Yes, there's always exceptions. Yes, I've met people who said, oh my God, you do what? I need your help. That's not the norm, but it happens. Or people get to know you for referral sources. Oh, you know this type of clients I work with. I know the type of clients you work with. Let's talk about it. But I just think it takes some time to build a relationship. Again, know, like, and trust. It's usually not this immediate click. And it takes time of building and following up, maybe checking in once a month to start out with the fuse and create a foundation for the relationship. But in a nutshell, it takes time. It's not going to a networking event, hard selling everyone, handing out your business card virtually or in person and expecting I'm going to get a sale every time I go to an event. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. One of the things you talk specifically about liking and trusting, that means that we've got to be able to show up authentically in my thinking. So, what happens when you're in a situation where you know lots of people? It's like, I want to have that relationship with you because I like you and I think that you're just a cool person, like authentically, but I don't know tons of people. What would you recommend to someone that in my situation where I can't reciprocate exactly what you're offering, but perhaps there's something else that I might be able to offer? How do we build from there?
I say in situations like that. So if you're talking to me, even if when we talk, you ask, who are you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for B2B service industry entrepreneurs and thought leaders who have 5 to 10 years under their belt. They can talk about how they built a company. Even if you don't know, you at least ask. And I found a lot of people will stick with podcasters. When I was getting going and getting rolling, I didn't try and blow smoke. It was episode 1, 2, 3, very, very open about it. Until you hit like 20, 40, 50, you got no traction. And people would be on my show. They would offer me help. I feel like the givers out there, so many people reached back on the ladder and pulled them up, gave them a leg up, whatever you want to call it. So some of the people out there who are successful can be the most giving. I've met people that I still to this day, it's like, how the heck am I going to reciprocate? Because I mean, we're talking rock star podcast guests, clients, referral sources. And I found it can't go on forever. You can't keep going back to the same one and say, let's have a call every week so you can give me more clients. But once a quarter, there's a lot of people that I know that still it's like, I don't know how I'm going to reciprocate. I try, and once in a while I do. But the people who had a lot of help on the way up tend to be the ones who want to give a lot of help now that they are on the top. And they don't worry about reciprocation. Again, not every week, maybe once a quarter. So be realistic about the timing, but at least offer to help. And people are pretty upfront these days, especially because so much is online. In an email, if you're pushing too hard, it's easy for them to say, well, I'm really busy, but check back with me next quarter.
Yeah.
But if you're not checking in that much, it's amazing how many people are just going to be so willing to help you out.
Yeah, I certainly love the pay it forward. I have had people come to me and say, hey, Rick, I want to start a podcast. Like, let's schedule some time. I'll walk you through what I've been through. Always happy to do that. I love that about this community. I've met so many podcasters, as you said, just such wonderful people. One of the other places where I would assume a lot of people build relationships is through portals like LinkedIn, social media. We're going out and we're initiating conversations with people. We're meeting people. Are there things that we can do to really help to start these relationships and build relationships? Again, looking at it from an authentic perspective, yes, there may be a commercial opportunity, but I'm thinking that that is not the way to start a relationship unless, as you said, someone comes and says, hey, I need, XYZ from you.
When people invite me to connect, first I look at their profile and see if it makes sense. If it's a grainy picture from somewhere I've never heard of and it's obvious that it's a spammer, I don't. But if it looks like it's someone that they're in a B2B service space or consultant or coach or something like that, even if they don't leave a note, I'll usually connect. And my first question is, I make it easy. Thanks for reaching out, Rick. Always curious. How did you find my profile? And I figure if they're not going to respond to that, they're no big deal. But at least if they come back with a pitch, I just disconnect from them. But most people will come back with, I found you in search or something like that. And then I ask them, and this is intentional, what exciting projects are you working on? Intentionally using the word exciting, not projects, because if they hate what they do, it's not going to be a good relationship. So what exciting projects are you working on? I'll ask the same thing if I'm doing the outreach. If I find it through search or the suggested people, I connect with one person that says, you might also want to connect with. And I'll just tell them, hey, we're both in, say, the thought leadership space. And you came up with my suggestions. We're both in Chicago or even broader. I thought it would be helpful to connect. And once they do, even though I initiate it, then I come back with the same question. What exciting projects are you working with? Because I want to connect to people who are passionate about what they're doing. And I do not go in with a pitch. I do not qualify them with, hey, I do this. Do you need my services? If they want to know about my services, we're all big boys and girls. It's LinkedIn. My services are on my profile. They can ask.
I'm guessing from there, it gives you an opportunity to just ask more questions. It sounds like an interesting project. How's it going for you, et cetera, et cetera. And then you kind of build relationship from there. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, but one case has just happened. Part of my outreach, I was connecting with publishers, particularly in Chicagoland for business books. I made a lot of connections. It was good. I had a few conversations, and what made it all worth it, one person reached out back, and we had a really good dialogue. And then I came up with my link for a virtual coffee. And then he did one better. And he said, actually, I'm hosting an event for entrepreneurs this coming Friday, and I'm sponsoring it. And it turns out serendipitously, I could walk to the venue in 20 minutes from where I live. It was that close to me. Got to meet him. He works with authors and thought leaders, obviously, as a publisher. I work with them in the video marketing arena. Who knows where that's going to go? But that all came because I initiated an outreach with no expectations other than, hey, we're both in Chicagoland. We're both in the thought leadership space. Thought it would be helpful to connect. It doesn't happen every time, but that was a really big and happy surprise for me when I was like, oh my God, I can walk. Heck yeah, I'll be there. I can walk in 20 minutes, even in the cold. Yeah, it's worth the walk. I'll do it. I'll put on a scarf. We're good. I'll have some my coffee.
That's awesome. Love the zero expectation, though. I really try to be intentional about that. I didn't realize that I would. I've been an introvert. I had the t-shirt, I get the hat. I don't talk to people. In the past few years, I've really begun investing in just connecting with people. People aren't as scary. No, I'm just kidding. The connections I can help people make with other people has been really, really rewarding. People introduce me to people like you and stuff like that. And I enjoy the relationship thing more than I ever thought I would. Now, one of your other topics is relationship marketing. I want to hear a little bit about that. What is that? How does it work? How do you do it?
Well, coming full circle, we've already touched on it, whether it's the LinkedIn, the inbound, what exciting projects are you working on to start a dialogue, or outbound, same question after I connect with them. Hey, we're both in the same space, or here's my reason for reaching out. It's building the relationships. And if you move along, know, like, and trust, like we started the conversation with, relationship marketing is I'm going to invest the time to build meaningful relationships. And sometimes it's a referral source. You're a publisher. Here's what I do with authors. Here's what you do with authors. We might be able to help each other, be upfront. Maybe we can be referral sources to each other and get to know each other, make a couple introductions back and forth, but really say, I'm going to invest time in this. It's not going to be a transaction. It's going to be, I've sent you this many clients, or maybe I'm just become a sounding board for your authors that want to start their own podcast. No charge, no tricks. Just send them to me. I know when I started my podcast for a while there, I still have the domain. It was just a hobby, so I shut it down. But I was running podcastingadvice.com and interviewing podcasters about podcasting. Figured I'll just share their stories. Like I said, it got too time consuming because it was just a hobby. But a ton of people helped me to get started, from the equipment to how to do interviews, everything else. So if I can do that for thought leaders, which is one of my most common, here's my give to you. I don't charge for this. I don't do podcast consulting. I just know people help me. It's finding things like that, like publishers did when I was writing my book. They would help me. Well, if you want traditional, here's what it looks like. If you want hybrid, here's the pros and cons of self-publishing. Here's what I did. They were so giving that when it comes time to give back, that's a great way to start a relationship, is not with the money, but what else are you working on that I might be able to help with? Oh, I wrote a book. I have a podcast. Oh, I've done a radio show. And really starting with, what kind of value can I add to really help fuse the relationship?
You said, what kind of value can I add to fuse the relationship? That's powerful. That's a different type of thinking. I think that we look at what's in it for me, but what can I do for you? That's huge. That's powerful.
Talking about the meaningful relationships and just realizing a relationship is give and take. It's know, like, trust. Yeah. It does take time, but when you see these people that make it look effortless, an entrepreneur that's just rocking and getting referrals and making a lot of sales and can take Fridays off to spend with his or her family, because most of the time when you look back, and I know that comes up with me, it comes up with everyone from my friends to my girlfriend to my mom, when something happens where it's an overnight success. It's like, well, let me take you back 3 years when I was in this virtual networking group. Because of that group, John, introduced me to group number 2. I took a leadership role. Because I took a leadership role and spent a year adding value in the group, then the leader became a client of mine. But it's usually not an overnight surface level success that everyone thinks. Most people say, yeah, but I met someone 3 years ago that started this chain reaction of 3 years to get an overnight success. It's nuts the people I've interviewed about success that look like overnight when they're like, no. People then see sometimes 5 and 10 years deep into doing what they're doing, especially if they're thought leaders, coaches, consultants. There's normally a lot more to the story than the quick overnight success that some people see.
That investment is huge. That investment is important. One of the things that I always do whenever I'm looking at something is looking at it from the perspective of process. When I'm looking at marketing, I'm building a marketing tool for a company, for example. I'm saying you have to do this, 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 and this, and with the goal of getting this other thing. With relationship marketing, do you see that as something that can work? And again, I'm going back to the point of being able to be authentic with building these relationships. How can we create value, but saying, I'm going to take these intentional steps at this specific interval or whatever that would look like. Have you seen that before, or do you do that?
Yeah, at first it's finding out the lead into what I mentioned before. I love tying things together. This is awesome. Thank you. Is that what exciting projects are you working on? People answer and they either like or move away from the word exciting. The ones that come back with, I don't have anything exciting going on now. It's like, we're not going to have a conversation. But what exciting projects are you working on? And then if it goes a little bit back and forth, like me and the business, the publisher did, then it becomes, well, where are you now asking a question? Ideally, you get on Zoom and do it if you can't do it locally. But just finding out, okay, as far as a process goes, where do you want to be in 90 days? And I look at what I learned with my book, Idea Climbing, with mentoring or just helping people. It's advice, support, and connections to get to where you want to be, whatever it might be. I like 90 days because it's something immediate. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, it can be so far into the future that they don't care. But in 90 days, they care.
Yes.
And that's when I asked, what resources don't you have yet? What kind of advice would you need? Who might I be able to connect you with? And that lets them see that I'm asking strategic, intelligent, meaningful questions. And most people don't get into what exciting projects are you working on? And by the way, what kind of advice, support, connections, help? What do you need to get from where you are to where you want to be in 90 days? And asking that process alone is so different than most of the typical, what do you do? What do you do? Who's your ideal client? Who's your ideal? Well, no, exciting project, 90 days from now, advice, support, and connections. What do you need? How might I be able to help you get there? That's an entire game-changing conversation.
I absolutely love that. So what I heard is, what are you trying to accomplish in the next 90 days and how can I help? I'm writing that one down. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Where do you want to be and why aren't you there yet? I mean, there's all sorts of questions around.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Related kind of in this, at least in my thinking, is brand presence. And that's another topic that you speak on. Do you want to jump into that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. To tie it in with what we've been talking about, building a brand is a giver. When it comes to brand building, best example, when everything hit the fan in 2020, everyone, myself, like most people, were used to in-person networking events. And all of a sudden you can go virtual. It's like, I can wear my pajama pants and slippers, look appropriate from the waist up. This is all cool. I only need 5 minutes of prep, maybe a Red Bull, depending on the time of day. And I can go to them. And then I started to realize I was having a lot of meetings, but it was a lot of one-off. And one of my friends, it was a few years ago at the time, he's like, that's great. I don't remember, something stupid, 10 or 15 meetings for the week. He's like, that's all good and well. How many second meetings are you having? How many third meetings are you having? Like, oh my God. I mean, I do have a business to build. How often do you meet someone in the video marketing, consulting, whatever arena where like, oh, I need what you have. Let me buy from you the first time meeting you. And I realized I wasn't building a cohesive brand. I was that one and done guy. Have a meeting, see where it goes, maybe not. Have a meeting, go to a new event. And I was the new guy in the room. And then over the course of about 3 years now, I'm going to pick a few different venues as far as groups to go to. And where I landed was now I have my 2 groups, my 1 volunteer activity, and those 2 groups that I'm building a brand. They're getting to hear me. The marketing videos, I call them sizzle reels. So they hear about thought leaders and need short form video for marketing. I call them sizzle reels. That's what I do. I get you 5 videos in less than an hour. They hear it again and again. There's a lot of the same people in the room, about 30 people. Another group I'm in is like 65, 70% coaches, consultants, my market, people we can refer each other business. And now I feel like National Speakers Association is my volunteer activity. And I'm building a brand now where people are getting to know me. And I'm also the brand of, and word gets out, he just helped me on our first call. You should go talk to him. Maybe he can help you. He's not going to pitch you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But as far as branding goes, that was my biggest lesson was don't be in the one and done mode. If you're always a new guy in the room, you're not building relationships and you don't have any brand because no one remembers you the first time you go to an event. Sometimes not the second or third. And I intentionally picked membership-based organizations. So people are paying to be there. They have more skin in the game. The free events are nice. Been to a few of them. But if it's a membership, one, the people are more invested because they paid something, even if it's a little bit. And two, the founder or founders of the organization are more likely to create valuable events because people are paying to be in the room. You can't not provide value. So they go out of their way to provide value. The members go out of their way to get value, and it becomes a beautiful mix. But I'm all about membership-based organizations.
Wow. How do you differentiate? Like some of what I heard, I felt like you were talking about reputation, and then other parts of it were talking more about your personal brand. How do you reconcile the two, or do you see them as related or one and the same?
Somewhat related, but I look at a brand as what I'm putting out there. Here's my brand. Here's what I do. I think of reputation, and there's probably a quote around this. I can't remember it, but to me, a reputation is what other people say about you when you're not. So the brand is me putting something forward, me building my brand intentionally and building it to own a spot in your head. When you think marketing videos, you think me. Reputation is more of, oh, he's a great guy. And it can go the other way around. It's like, oh man, I got on a call. He put up a 15 slide PowerPoint deck on our first call. People talk. I've learned that. Good, bad, or otherwise, they will. If you're a member of a group, or even if you attend a free one regularly, they're going to talk about you. Just make sure it's good and make sure you have a reputation of not being a slick and slimy salesperson or not trying to sell everyone on the first. I've had people do that on the first call. Can I bring up my PowerPoint? No, that's not what you asked me. You said you wanted to look into the common one, synergies. No, you can't bring up a 15 slide PowerPoint deck to show me your services that I don't even need.
Yes. I'm going to refrain from comment on that. Okay. So here's the thing. So you talked about it from a product perspective, essentially. You do the sizzle reel. However, you do speaking engagements, you do your podcasts, you do your radio shows. It seems like you would have a brand that's associated with those as well. So your brand would transcend just the sizzle reels.
I hired an amazing coach when I wanted to have everything I do, either mastermind groups or interview. And there's larger projects. He's like, you don't go into a room, even if they know you, don't come in hot with mentioning a $10,000 project. You're not in the billionaires club. You're in a breakout room with people at a similar level. Meet them where they are. So sizzle reels are a digestible package at a reasonable price that I think people need. I own that. When I have my one-on-ones with people, or occasionally I'll drop it at the, oh, my podcast episode came out. In one-on-ones, I'll mention everything I do involves interviewing. With my podcast and radio show, I'm honing my skills. The sizzle reels, all you have to do is look into a camera. I'll do what I do best. I'll pull out your purpose, your passion, your stories. My editor will chop it up into short form video. Boom. So I let them know I'm about interviewing. The stuff like the podcast and everything else will come up, the mastermind group projects. But in the room, my brand is, because I don't want to confuse the room with 1 week talking about sizzle reels, the next week talking about a $10,000 mastermind group licensing. I mean, it's like, whoa, that comes up on a need to know basis on one-on-one calls with people when I think it could be a fit.
That makes sense. Absolutely. So you can take that interviewer brand anywhere you go with whatever it is that you're doing. I got it. Thank you for clarifying that. Let's jump into interviewing since you brought up the topic.
I think everyone of every age, I've been doing it, like I said, since my senior year in college. So I'm going on my 25th year of interviewing people. It's only been the past few years where it's become regular interviews on YouTube. I did it sporadically as a hobby, live and remote for a while on YouTube. As far as interviewing goes, I think if you want to know how to do anything, the key to get there faster is interview. When I started, like I said, I thought I wanted to be Tony Robbins. So I talked to any public speakers. I would find people in the news. I would find people There were best-selling authors. I would find their email at the time. I started to date myself in 1999 and went on and moved to Chicago from Michigan in 2002, 2003, and just hunted anyone down and would just ask for like 20 minutes of their time. So I think that's important. As far as within the podcast world, one of the things I've learned, if you're going to make your interviews public, and you can do this privately too, but my biggest interview tip is how I became the CEO. How and why will get you unstuck like 95% of the time. Oh, how did you become a CEO? Why did you become a CEO? Don't ask yes or no questions. Do you like your job as a CEO? Yes or no. It's like, crap, what do I ask next? As opposed to, why did you start a business, or why and how? Those elicit stories. People love stories. That's what they want to listen to. That's what they want to watch. So take that, use that for whatever you will. Informational interviews are just everything. If you can and you have the time and the expertise or the money, whatever it takes. I taught myself how to do my own editing. So I don't need a producer. I can do my own editing, whatever it is, even if it's podcasts or LinkedIn posts. LinkedIn articles are free, blogs. I think everyone should be interviewing people and having at least 2 informational interviews a month. Again, and when you can make them public facing, all the better.
Wow. And kind of circling back to our conversation about relationships, I mean, how do you make sure that it's a win-win? The person that you're interviewing is getting value or feeling valued, and you're getting the value that you need. How do you make sure that the interview is structured so that everybody gets value out of it?
2 points. They're kind of the same. One, if it's just an informational interview, chances are good. What we said earlier, this is all kind of starting to tie together with a bow. Someone helped them, so they're glad to help you. I did have people, when I tried to do a second call, very nicely said no. So they didn't mind the first 20, 30-minute call, but trying to say, oh, can I pick your brain again? I did get no's on for like second and third sometimes, but the first one, almost always yes. Even on podcasts, people want to give back. And also, just like what you're doing, some podcasters, it's their show and they talk 80% of the time. It's like, why do you even have a freaking guest? 20% of the time, you add an opinion. I intentionally want to inflect some of my opinions or my thoughts into it, but they talk 80% of the time. And at the end of the day, almost everyone's favorite subject to talk about is themselves. So if you make it all about them, they'll talk your freaking ear off. For as long as the podcast lasts, most people genuinely want to give back. That's what I found from informational interviews. I will say, especially if you're younger, find successful people. I basically hunt them down. And if they meet me for coffee, great. If not, I get on the phone for 20 to 30 minutes. And so just talk about that networking. Even today, when I talk to classes, deer in the headlights. You asked the CEO for what? 20 to 30 minutes of her time. You approached what? 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Everyone from CEOs to multi-platinum musicians and everyone in between. And most of them gave me their time. And it was that first class and all the ones I realized, wow, I was hardwired very, very differently. What was second nature to me, which is ask for help, get advice, was scary as heck. And still sometimes in some college classes it is. It's still scary. So many people that I've talked to at higher levels, especially, again, college students too, if they want help, they're happy to help. But the super successful people don't broadcast, oh, I'm going to have open office hours on Zoom from 10 to 12 on Wednesday. They said if people would actually approach them and have the cojones to ask for help, they do it. They just need someone to ask. And so few people ask. So few people ask.
Seen that. I've really been surprised by some of the people that I've been able to connect with. Oh, you did what? You changed the whole industry. That's absolutely awesome. How do you get good at interviewing, though? Like you said, typically most people don't walk in the door and they're just like awesome interviewers. How do you flex that?
I would love to have a silver bullet answer for you. People might not like what I'm about to say, and some people can probably feel it coming. Just do it. Just do it. I did it behind the scenes, not knowing. In 1999, I'm guessing somewhere there was a podcast, but publicly there was no podcast. There was no social media. I didn't know where I would end up. So I did have an advantage that I was getting my chops. I still remember my first 2 interviews. Head coach, University of Michigan's basketball team, and a Grammy Award-winning musician. I found my notebook from February of 1999 with my prep notes in it. As far as interviewing them, I would only have 20 to 30 minutes. So I didn't have time for what I call daytime fluff. My goal was one actionable idea that I can learn and teach as a speaker from every call. So I got good at getting to the meat and getting there quick, because it was out of necessity. I didn't have the luxury of them saying, oh, I'll just give you an hour of my time. Let's go have coffee or a beer. When I started podcasting, it was sporadic. I'd love to say I did it right, but I did it sporadic at first, audio only. I would have a 30-minute prep call to get to know the person. What kind of topics do you want to talk about? I'd write down questions. And I didn't do video because I didn't want people to see me either stumble or like looking down like this and taking notes. And it was probably 50, 60 episodes in, 70. And I started doing some radio shows, and those are 40 minutes. At the time I did them, they went live. I realized 2 episodes, I just held my own for 40 minutes looking at a camera with no notes. I can do this.
Do this, yes.
And when I write up my show notes now, my goal is still, without getting into the minutia, I want to improve my interviewing skills. Even if it's just 1%, I want something a little bit better every interview. But to answer your question directly, the only way you're going to do it is just go do it. If it's informational interviews behind the scenes, or do a series of, if you want to make it more public, like I said, LinkedIn articles are free. You don't have to worry about being on video or stuttering or not knowing what to say. All you have to do is record the conversation, type it up afterwards, make LinkedIn articles. But the best thing with interviewing is you just have to do it. I thought it was good before, but no. 20 episodes later, oh, now I'm awesome. I can always get better at it. Is it from being a guest to doing it? So yeah, anyone that is thinking about it, if you're afraid to go live and publish podcasts or YouTube videos, interview people, record the audio, and get good at writing up LinkedIn articles or blog posts on WordPress. You can do it for free or next to free. And the only way you get good at interviewing is by doing it a lot. Right now, I'm releasing 4 on a minimum. If I skip a couple, I'm releasing 4 to 8 interviews a month at this point.
Wow. Good for you, man. We're running out of time, but I want to touch on your book, Idea Climbing. You want to give our audience a little bit of a high level on that?
The high level idea climbing, how to build a support system for your next big idea. At the time I published it, it's based on 22 years of interviews and research of successful people. And what I found was doing research about people like Richard Branson or Michael Dell that are the figurehead. They stood on people's shoulders. They had such a support system of people. Like I mentioned, the first 2 interviews in every walk of life, when I got right into it, I literally had one person tell me, stone cold, I did it on my own. I didn't have any damn help. Literally one person. Everyone else had it. And I said, there's got to be a process. And the entire book is step by step, how to build a support system, how to find mentors, how to ask questions, how to build, I call them collaborative cohorts of like and unlike minds, how to surround yourself with people that'll lift you up, and how to surround yourself with people that'll give you a knock on the head when you need it. But if you have a big idea you want to bring to life, usually a business, a book, something like that, it's a blueprint. And I'm very detail oriented. One of the things that kills me in undergraduate, especially business schools, speakers and teachers will tell you, you have to network. 20 years of talking to college classes, I found one who's a friend of mine in New York at Rutgers that actually has a book, Knockout Networking. He teaches his class speaking and networking. But you need to network. You need to network. No one tells you how to do it. They'll tell you you need to know how to do it, but they don't tell you how to do it. So I took that to the book. It's not just, oh, you need mentors. It's here's the whatever 5-step process to do it. Here's the X step process of how to do it. And it can be found on Amazon just by looking up Idea Climbing, Mark J. Carter. Idea Climbing, Mark J. Carter, it'll pop right up.
That's awesome. I am going to get a copy of that. That sounds like a great read, great resource. Thank you so much for sharing. Just give our audience a great takeaway that they can use from our discussion.
Ask for help. Definitely ask for help. The successful people that failed and got back on their feet, got back on their feet enough times. I'll end with this. Be vulnerable and be curious. People present in college, had the resume with, I was a such and such distribution system. It's like you're a bartender handing out beers. Call it for what it is. Say you're a people person. Do not say you are a liquid distribution system. No. And startups, make it sound like you're this awesome thing and put a pitch deck together if you want funding or whatever else on your, fake it till you make it, reign supreme with some people. If you fake it, no one can help you. If you present life as perfect, you're going to screw yourself, quite frankly, and miss out on amazing opportunities for people to help you out, whether it's directly as a business partner, idea-wise as a mentor. Be vulnerable, be genuinely curious about other people. And if you need it, ask for help. Because if you don't ask for help, pretty soon fake it. The successful people, and I've tried it before myself. I can't say I've always been perfect. People will see through it. And you will actually damage your reputation if you try and present yourself as a successful coach or a successful entrepreneur, or I'm awesome in corporate America, and you're not. It's going to come through because people are going to pick it up. Gut feelings, obvious self-esteem issues, whatever it is, people pick up on BS. They'll accept it once or twice, but if you're doing events and networking, people that are successful can pick up when you're faking it. And they're also going to be grateful and very helpful when you're vulnerable and you're curious. If you need help, you don't know how to do something, be vulnerable, be curious, and ask for help.
I love it. We needed background music and cheering for that. That was awesome. Mark, if someone wants to reach out to you, just hang out, whatever, connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
markjcarter.com. That's markjcarter.com. All my contact info, social media stations. If you want to see my interviews, markjcartertv.com should redirect you. But if you're a big YouTuber, my handle is @MarkJCarter, youtube.com/@MarkJCarter. It'll pop you right there. I'm pumping out, like I said, at least one interview a week, depending on the groups I'm working with, sometimes more than that. I have one video that's been buried from 5 years ago that was not an interview. Besides that, everything on my station is an interview.
Fantastic. Mark J. Carter, thank you so much. I'm going to make sure that all those links are in the show notes. So anybody that goes to the site or goes to the page, you'll be able to see all that information, how to get in touch with Mark. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. This has been awesome.
Awesome. Folks, thank you for listening to or watching another episode of the Relentless Pursuit of Winning podcast. We will catch you next time.